Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brands and Banter. My name is Joanna and I'm super excited to sit here today with Craig Turner. Craig, we've known each other for 3 or so years, but it's been a bit since we've gotten to chat. So yeah, I'm super excited for our conversation today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Glad to be here.
Of course. Go ahead and introduce yourself just so our listeners can get to know you.
Sure thing. My name is Craig Turner. I'm a native of Columbus, Ohio, and I'm a Buckeye. And I'm the COO of Agape Automation. I'm also the executive director of the Edge Innovation Hub, which is an innovation space for the future of food, which is where Agape Automation lives. And I have a design background. I have a creative art background. And today I get to bring all those creative drives into creating the future of food, and specifically automation in the food space with Agape Automation. So
yeah,
how's that?
That's amazing.
Great.
Incredible. Kind of just pivoting off of that, I always like to know when somebody asks you what you do professionally, how do you describe that to somebody that might not know the ins and outs?
Yeah, great question. Always contextual, I guess, but in this context, I'm working on the future of food.
Yeah.
Bringing technology into the food space, specifically in the pizza industry. Pizza is very big in my world.
Yeah.
And so we are working on developing automation equipment for the pizza industry. And this is all driven by Jim Grody, who is the founder of Agape Automation and the Edge Innovation Hub, and also the Grody Company, and also Donato's Pizza, which is a big deal if you're from Central Ohio.
It's the best pizza in Columbus.
And it's also growing well beyond Columbus. Very strong growth across the country. So Jim is a tenacious founder, an awesome person, an amazing innovator, somebody I've learned so much from, and has really been a huge influence in my development, not just in work but in life. His values are as strong as any of his other characters. And Jim truly believes in developing technology for the future of the pizza industry, and he believes wholeheartedly in automation as a way to help restaurants grow, restaurants be better, teams be better, and he wants to do that through the power of love.
Yeah.
Which is the word agape, which is a Greek word for unconditional love. So you put that with automation, we automate with love. And that also, helps me answer that question that comes up about automation and jobs, because we're not interested in taking away anybody's job. That's not what it's about. We're developing equipment that helps people do their jobs better and allows businesses to grow and take new pizza retail locations into communities where pizza's never been before, and create new jobs in places where there weren't jobs before. So that's a long answer to maybe a short question, but anyway.
For sure. No, and I think it's so interesting. I know automation in the restaurant space has been kind of a sensitive topic for some people, but what restaurant operator do you know that's like, I have all this extra free time in my day and I don't need to automate stuff, right? It's like there's always room for it, and it's just to continue to help streamline the process, make the employees there have an easier day-to-day work environment. So it's definitely, it's something that's necessary, but I know has been like, people have to warm up to the idea of it. But I think the way that you guys do it and go about it is so grounded in who you are as people, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I always say the first person who invented the wheel, there was somebody right next to him who was like, what do you need that wheel for?
Yeah, so true.
We got legs.
Yeah.
Why do you need a wheel? And that will always be our interaction to new things. And, people fear change for
sure.
obvious reasons. It's part of our survival strategy to have that, whoa, what's going on here? But this change of automation is coming.
Yeah.
It's not going to be stopped. Our thinking, and back to our name, is how do we do this in the best way for humanity? How do we automate with love in the best way for the pizza industry and for the future of food? And so that's the way we approach it. It's not just dollars and cents or, thinking about it as just pure efficiency. There's the human component, and so we need to think about doing all those things the right way. So, yeah.
For sure. Well, I'm eager to dive more into the roots of Agape and what you guys are doing over there. But first, I want to hear a little bit more about how you got here. So you said you're a Buckeye.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what made you decide to go to Ohio State, and then what got you into kind of that design world.
Yeah. So Ohio State is kind of a ubiquitous force in Columbus.
Yeah.
It's huge. Huge institution, huge university, and I always felt comfortable in that kind of large scope. Felt like I could find greater opportunities, and from the time I started as an undergrad at Ohio State, it just kept kind of pulling me back into more opportunities. I went and did my master's in design research and development with the Department of Design at Ohio State, and completed in 2017. And so that was an opportunity for me to go back to school while I was still working full time.
Right.
And kind of reset, refresh, and kind of double down on my desire to stay in a creative career. Was super interested in brands and studied brands. It was really kind of the underlying context of my thesis research. And, one of my philosophies going in was I'm going to take on every opportunity that I can. I'm going to do as much work as I can that's creative and interesting. I'm not going to say no unless I absolutely have to. And I'm not going to worry too much about what the salary or the rate is. It's just going to be, I'm going to drive through passion during this time. And I had a belief that would help set me up for whatever was next. And so long story short, there was a lot of different things I did, obviously, over that 2 years. But I took on a project pro bono with Stonewall Columbus.
Yeah.
And Stonewall Columbus is an LGBTQ organization in Columbus, Ohio. And so Stonewall Columbus was kind of refreshing their brand after 30-some years. And through that experience, I met Tom Grody, who was a co-chair of a campaign called the Stonewall Builds campaign. Long story short, Tom and I worked together for 6 months together pro bono on this project for Stonewall Columbus, and really did some great work. And I'm still a volunteer with Stonewall Columbus. I'm going into my ninth year of volunteering for Pride in June. Already ramping up.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah,
because it's when the weather just starts to turn, it's time to start thinking about summertime fun. So, anyways, Tom and I worked together. turned out that Tom was a veteran at Donato's Pizza, had grown up in Donato's Pizza, was Jim Grody's first son, and we started a business together to help develop brands and tell brand stories, and so here comes Jim Grody with an interest in building the Edge Innovation Hub, which is a building on the campus with Donato's Pizza and the Grody Company in Gahanna, Ohio. And Jim is fired up about innovation, but just has a complete open space about what this innovation is going to lead to. So I should have known that it would lead to automation and the future of food, because Jim's always been interested in automation. He started the Grody Company out of a machine called the Pep-O-Matic, which he developed in the early 70s to slice and apply pepperoni, which really took off in the frozen food industry, and has created an amazing 50-year business that's global at this point, with a lot more than pizza automation. They do sandwich applications, and they do slicing machines. So some really interesting stuff made right here in Central Ohio that can be found all over the world in food processing plants. So if you've ever had a baby carrot, there's machines that take the carrots that aren't able to be used or sold in normal retail groceries, and they take those carrots, put them into a machine that's made by the Grody Company, and they kind of whittle them down and shine them up and turn them into baby carrots. So that's one of the many things that Grody Company does. So
I did not know that piece of it. That's really interesting. Yeah,
there's all kinds of little amazing tidbits about the behind the scenes of food processing. I always make the distinction between ultra processed and processing. Pretty much everything we eat is processed in some way. It goes from wherever it comes from to whatever it is. And so just an example of, grow a carrot, and what do you do with it now? Well, process it into something that can be some baby carrots or whatever it is. So, or, slicing and peeling potatoes, all these different things. So, anyways, that's, that I know I got right back to Agape Automation and Jim, which happens a lot, but before my time at in my MFA, my master's degree at Ohio State, I studied design as well with the Department of Design, and really had a great career for almost 10 years as a designer, always gravitating towards brands, always was interested in kind of the bits and bytes that make the story, and kind of taking messages and simplifying them down to their core, and designing brands around that. So I still design. It's hard to get away from designing. There's always opportunities to do that for my business. We're a small group, and so everybody gets to do a little bit of everything. And so I still love to design, and still develop the brands that we work on, and the products, product lines that we develop. And so it's been a good and very interesting road. Which doesn't look connected maybe from the outside, but very much is connected to designing, developing brands, and the creative execution that's now going into the future of food.
Yeah. So you mentioned a little bit when you were at Ohio State, you were studying brands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was it always restaurant and retail for you, or were you interested in other things and you just kind of went down this path that is now very restaurant retail heavy?
Yeah.
Or was that always an interest of yours?
Yeah, as I look back, it is interesting that there is a thread of food that has always run through everything that I've done.
Yeah.
I've always been very interested in small brands, and I think that's just because there's so much opportunity to create. You're not just maintaining and tweaking existing brands, but you're literally creating from nothing. So I was always interested in that part of it, which has created an opportunity or at least an alignment of my interest. When it came to Agape Automation and the Edge Innovation Hub, we were starting from nothing.
Yeah.
And so that was very exciting. It was a very energized time when we were first starting in 2019, the Edge Innovation Hub, and then almost immediately Agape Automation started out of that. So yeah, not necessarily. It's not like I have to work in food or I need to be in food retail.
Yeah.
But somehow it always keeps coming back. So.
It is funny how that works, right?
It is, yeah.
I worked retail. That was my first job when I could get a job, and here I am. I've kind of been in the restaurant and retail industry to some extent, and now pretty retail heavy, but it's interesting how you find your way back into these industries that you've had roots in.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a comfort thing, or maybe it just is because that's what you're meant to do. But
something in the universe,
keeps pulling you back in.
Keeps pulling you back in. Yeah. It's hard to tell, but yeah, there seems to be a thread there.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. So walk me back a little bit. You went to Ohio State, and you, I know, were in creative for e-retailing.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your time there, and kind of when in your timeline was that? That was obviously before Edge and Agape.
Yeah. So e-retailing, that's going way, way back. That was right in the exciting years around 2008 when economic issues were a big part of the story, but that came after my undergrad design degree, and very interesting small local brand.
Yeah.
That was basically had a website that allowed people to go in and create their own T-shirts. If you've seen, like the bridal party T-shirts or these type of things. And this little niche market that was kind of a great opportunity, and so that was one of my first jobs out of when I first became a designer, and I was able to become creative director there, and that was very exciting because I was again able to create and kind of build this brand. So that was the story there.
Incredible. I love that. After e-retailing, you landed at L Brands, or was
Yep.
there? Okay.
Yeah.
L Brands after.
Yeah.
Columbus staple there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And were you there across all brands, or did you have one specific segment?
Yeah, I worked with International.
Okay.
Yeah, which was very interesting little piece of L Brands because there was really all the brands together in one. And it was this kind of interesting intersection of retail locations in airports.
Yeah.
And they just were selling perfumes like crazy, so that was a big part of the business. But it was all the different portfolio brands at L Brands coming together in International, including La Senza and Bath and Body Works and Victoria's Secrets.
You mentioned the airport model. It's always been so fascinating to me, having retail embedded in a space like an airport, until I find myself like trapped in an airport, and then I'm like, well, what do you do? You know, so it's like all of a sudden it makes sense when you're not hustling through to get to your next destination. But
yeah. You know, it's funny. It just made me think that I was just listening to this piece. And one of the things that stuck out to me was, airports. They are retail environments in themselves.
Oh, for sure.
And they have an incentive to not just make your time in an airport a very efficient and A to B proposition. It's kind of like, how about we let them hang around for a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour and a half. They'll probably be hungry.
Yeah.
They might see something shining in this beautiful lighting here and want to buy that. They're on vacation.
Yep.
So, or they don't have what they usually have and they need something. So it's like big opportunity. So kind of interesting how, kind of these captive environments create captivity.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyways, think about that next time we're in airports. How much of our time here is because somebody's got something to sell us here. So an interesting thought. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you're turning my brain on for the next time I travel. I'm going to have my guard up in the airport.
Absolutely. Me too. Yeah, I was not thinking about this very much before.
Yeah.
But there's no place quite like airports. Anyways.
You taught design thinking at Ohio State.
Yeah. That's
a pretty full circle moment. You obviously went to Ohio State, studied there. So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. Really, teaching was one of the great experiences of my life, and I would love to get back to it someday. I think that might be part of my full circle. You never know. But I taught 6 semesters at Ohio State, and I started during my master's degree studies, and then did a few semesters afterward. And I think that on a very practical level, I learned that teaching is a lot like giving a performance, and I would suggest that anybody who wants to be more comfortable presenting, more comfortable, really with the subject matter that they're interested in, if they get the opportunity to teach that, go for it.
Yeah.
Somebody said once, if you want to learn, teach, and it really I learned what that meant while I was teaching, because you have to know what you're talking about.
Oh, for sure.
And to get to the depth of that knowledge, you really understand that through teaching and being challenged. Hopefully you're challenged by students. So, I also learned a lot about design and back to the kind of the core of design thinking, which is the user experience, and understanding, researching, and developing design through understanding the user's experience.
Yeah.
That has come right back to where I am right now, because I'm on a team that develops automation equipment for the pizza industry, and to develop a piece of equipment for the pizza industry, you have to test that equipment in the pizza industry, which means you need to have a pizza shop and you need to get that equipment in there. And amazingly enough, I have that ability because of Jim Grody and Donato's Pizza. So it's really a big opportunity that I learned through teaching of how to really focus on what the user is saying, how to understand feedback, how to ask follow-up questions, how to design research studies, all these different things. I could go on and on. But it all really came together with design thinking, and the methodologies around that study. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and just the other thing was just interacting with students.
Yeah.
And you know, back to that idea of performance. You know, there wasn't time, along with everything else going on. I was still working full time, doing my master's degree, and teaching, and so there's not time to sit down and study the lesson plan.
No.
It's kind of like you know, you have to be quick on your feet.
Yeah.
So that was amazing training in walking in, delivering, and being confident in doing that. So yeah, great experience, and I recommend it to anybody. Find a way to teach. Find somebody to mentor.
Yeah.
Stay open to those kind of opportunities.
Definitely. Yeah. You learn a lot from the way other people receive information too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are different learners and they're different communicators, and so having to diversify the way that you think about that, and that it's not just the way that you receive information, I think is important, and it, I think, opens your eyes to like different ways that you can communicate and educate people on certain things. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that brings us to present day, and I still use the same work bag that I've used for the last 3 years. So every day I have my Agape coin with me. So tell me a little bit about the coin and the meaning. There's 3 different messages on here.
Yeah. I've got mine in my pocket. I do every day, carry it with me. This is really, you know, back to Jim Grody and his values. You know, he really started his businesses with the ideas on this coin. When I first met Jim, he always talked about values. He talked about what values meant in business, and so, you know, it was a lot coming at me. We actually worked together on helping to kind of take those a lot of those messages and how to get it down on paper. And so you know, up comes my design and brand training, taking all these little bits and bytes of information and kind of bringing it down into a message that can be delivered. And that really was the outcome of these 3 points on the coin, which are lead with love, the golden rule, or treating others like you'd want to be treated, and do the right thing. And it's kind of a simple philosophy, but simple is good.
Yeah.
And you know, if you can lead with love and you can treat others like you'd want to be treated, and you can do the right thing, not only are you going to do well in business, I think, but you're going to do pretty well at life. So that's kind of how we look at it. Makes an easy value system.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't take the business out of it. We're still here to make money and to grow our business, but there's absolutely no reason we can't do that in a good, positive way. And so that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the impactful thing too with this is the amount of people in my network that I've seen like spread this on LinkedIn, you know, and just share that, you know, they've kind of been brought into the purpose and have been able to hear your guys' mission and vision. And I think that's really impactful. And just having something physical too, I think is such a cool way to bring yourself back to your roots and understand that these are the 3 pillars that you guys kind of live and breathe each day, both probably in your personal life, but also in business. So that's really nice to hear. There's thousands of these out. Yeah. We actually make these with the Grody company next door. They have all kinds of sheet metal and these are stainless steel, and they make them for us, and they're out there, and people keep requesting them, and we keep sending them out. And you know, when we started this project, it wasn't a project. Yeah. It was just
had an idea to make a coin.
Yeah.
And so we did. We 3D printed a bunch of versions, and then was talking with Bob Grody, who's the CEO of the Grody Company and Jim's nephew. And he said, we could make those over next door in stainless steel. And so, okay, well, let's try that.
Yeah.
And then, the next thing you know, here it is in my pocket years later, and in a lot of other people's pockets. And so I think that kind of comes back to, makes me think of just try things, It's a form
Absolutely.
of innovation to just, instead of seeing the limitations, see the opportunities. And so it's kind of a cool story that it's not, for me especially, that it wasn't like a project that, or
Yeah.
it wasn't, I didn't get a spec sheet on it. It just happened, and here it is. It's something that's been very, very special and impactful in my life, and hopefully impacts a lot of other people and reminds them of who they are and what they can be. So it was, yeah.
I think it absolutely does. So I think you're nailing it there.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Let's pivot a little bit and chat kind of about the intersection of retail and restaurant,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and these two industries that I think have some commonality behind them.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, retail, need a thing, go to a place, buy a thing.
Yeah.
I guess there's probably a way to simplify that down even further, but so whether it's a pair of shoes, a sweatshirt, or a pizza, there's a place you can go to get those things.
Yeah.
And they're all retail. So I think that some of the ideas of retail are completely similar, whether you're talking about a quick service restaurant or a place you go, a big box store or whatever. Mm-hmm. And creating an environment where you feel like you are interested in buying something.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're thinking about this. Lighting, presentation, smells.
Oh yeah.
Interesting that a lot of scent branding happens in retail locations. Well, scent branding happens in quick service restaurants as well. And if you've ever hung around a pizza shop, there's some amazing smells, especially near the oven. So there's a lot going on. All the senses are engaged when you're entering into a pizza shop. So yeah.
I think that's the scent component is so interesting, and I've always said restaurant has it made when it comes to scent. If you walk into a pizza shop and you're like craving this pizza, you're excited, that's going to be like the first thing that probably hits you, and the first scent that is engaged. And with retail, it's interesting that a lot of more specialty retailers have leaned into that and really tried to find their identity with scent. Because they have obviously the immediate sight of seeing clothing or whatever product they're shopping for, and then they can touch it and all of that. But the scent component is fascinating, and there's so many retailers that I feel like do it really well. And obviously in the restaurant industry, QSRs are that's just a built-in piece of it. And it's such a brand recognizable thing a lot of the time too. If you're like really familiar with a Donato's Pizza or another pizza shop, you're going to recognize that scent and be able to have a connection to it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're making me think of a quick story. I was in Seattle in the Pike Market, and there was this little bakery. I was not about to go into this bakery because it was a trap. It's a trap. But they had this beautiful window, right, out, people walking by, and through the window is the kind of the bakery line. So they're there's flour all over the table, and bread is being kneaded, and pastries are being woven, and there's this fan above, an exhaust fan above the window, and the smell of the pastries baking and the sugars melting and all of the icings and the this and the that's, and it is just pouring down on the sidewalk and onto me and onto the people that are watching. And I'm thinking, wow, I don't know if this is a happy accident. To me, they was very strategic.
Yeah.
And great. Like, what an amazing execution. They nailed it. And so, it's kind of that brings back to this idea behind brands of how do we take the essence of what we are that is good and just give people that, And yeah, it's like the pastry that I could have walked in and bought. That's the goal. But to get there, what they have that's really great and really accessible are the smells that are coming out of their ovens. And to find a way, they figured out how to bring that right out to the point of contact, which isn't even inside where they're paying for or what they're paying for as far as a retail space. So how do we take what we do that is good and give that to the people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all facilitating that experience and making the experience inviting so that people that maybe didn't have it on their radar are like, I have to go in here because this looks like a place that I have to check out, or it reminds me of X, Y, and Z. That experience component is really important.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, now let's chat a little bit about some things that restaurants can maybe learn from traditional retailers and vice versa. Do you see anything that retailers are doing really well that could be brought into restaurants, or the other way around?
Yeah, from the perspective of what I'm working on right now, we're back in the kitchen. We're really aiding the store teams to just help them do their jobs better. But obviously, there's all kinds of opportunities around food safety, around efficiency to help get somebody exactly what they ordered. Yeah. And so that's definitely a piece of what we're doing. It's not just speed; it's accuracy, so there's all those little things, like connecting the dots in the background. I mean, there's so many things. Creating a beautiful experience. I don't know that people in brands talk about that all the time, but the customers, I don't know that they think about like, well, I need a new set of tires for my car, so I'm expecting a beautiful experience to do that. It's typically not.
But how amazing would it be if it was a beautiful experience?
And it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. It's a lot about what we expect and what our standards are, and that's what folks or brand builders are trying to deliver, or businesses are trying to sell. So I think back to what I'm doing. I really believe that in automation of pizza making, it is not back to the job thing. It is not about reducing the amount of jobs in the store. Right. It is about how do we compete in this market to create the best working environment for the best folks who will want to come and work here. Yeah. That's a big deal because there's all these changes going on all the time, and we saw it through the last 5 years or 6 years, I guess. it's been that long since the pandemic, isn't it?
Ooh.
So
It's nuts.
Yeah, so we just saw so much change in that time period, so much, especially around food retail. It was a really challenging time.
Oh yeah.
And, there's still the case where somebody can offer a quarter more per hour, and somebody will leave a job to go take that other job. So there's all these things happening. How do we create work experiences that are not just better for the customer, which ultimately is going to happen too, but how can we create a great work experience that would make somebody want to work here and keep coming back?
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing, turnover is so high. And so having an opportunity to keep somebody in a job, of any retail job, is such a powerful thing and such a efficient business opportunity. So what I'm trying to do with my team is to create automation machines that make a team member's life easier, make that team a better team, make that store a better store, make that business a better business. And little by little and piece by piece, we keep getting a little better and better. That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's never moves as fast as we'd like to, because we can see it, can't we? We can see the A to Z, but there's all those other steps. So anyways, that's what I'm really focused on. And I think there's a trickle down effect from a great team in a restaurant.
Oh yeah.
And you hear so many stories about restaurants that have grown too fast because they lose that kind of core fundamental that the owner or the founder brought, that was kind of holding it all together like a big ball of glue. And then the expansion happens and that original energy spreads, and it kind of loses its center, loses its soul, and then can't figure out how to replicate it. So we're, in addition to creating a great experience for a team, we're trying to help create a stronger system that can grow, and automation equipment is a big part of that system. A lot of technology that's happening right now, whether it's AI technology around training new store associates, or technology software systems that allow for better organization of orders and deliveries. All these little pieces are coming together to create a better experience. So
yeah, and I mean I think that's so important too, because truly the root and the heart of the experience that customers are going to get, whether it's at a retail location or a restaurant, is coming from that team of employees.
Yeah.
And so empowering them and making sure that they're not only bought in, but that they're not experiencing like this overwhelming burnout, or that they feel like they can actually function in their job is so important.
Yeah.
Because I know I've been in retail positions before where it just feels like it continues to stack up on you. And I worked at a beautiful specialty retailer that was just truly a great experience because people enjoyed coming in, and that made me enjoy like continuing to give them great service. Whereas sometimes when you work in spaces that don't foster that as much, it's a little bit harder to do that. So.
It's like how we all want to live. We all want to live in beautiful places that inspire us and make us feel whatever feelings we're going for. Yeah. And so it's not always it's a hard job. Yeah. Like you said, the stacking up it's a very, very hard job. I have a lot of compassion for the store teams that I work with. We're trying to love them and understand how to help them. And
All right, so we've talked a lot about automation. Let's chat a little bit about this coined term of a smart kitchen and what that kind of means for the restaurant industry right now.
Yeah. So, we're building the smart kitchens of the future, and really the core of it is using technology to create better spaces. Again, back to better teams, better businesses, better kitchens, and so there's just so much opportunity around technology. AI is a whole other wave that everybody's talking about that obviously has implications, and we're seeing a lot in the training space right now, because the same kind of problem that we all understand. You've got a manager in a store or a retail location who's very busy, and then you've got a new employee, and that new employee is looking to the manager to answer a question that could be as simple as, where's the restroom? And I'll tell a quick story about that, actually, and this might help illuminate the point. I heard a story about somebody, and this was some years ago, but I heard a story about a person who started working at a restaurant, and that person disappeared. And around noon or so, the store manager called to find out where they went and if they were okay.
Yeah.
And the person said, yeah, I got there this morning and nobody told me where the restroom was, and I couldn't find the restroom, and I really had to use the restroom, so I just left. And that person never came back to work. Now, that's probably not a situation that I would find myself in.
Yeah.
But this was a young person.
Right.
Somebody who maybe had never had a job before. Again, like compassion, let's think about where they're coming from and meeting them where they are. That's a shock, but also illuminates kind of an opportunity. How do we use technology to answer that question so that person doesn't leave because they're confused?
Right.
And what kind of tools can we build for that person? And that's just one little piece. There's so many different ways. Like, imagine being a customer and not understanding where your order is, or why nobody's given you what you ordered at the time they promised you were going to get it.
Yeah.
How do we use technology to use the tools that we have, a smartphone,
right,
to alert that customer or let them know exactly what's happening with their order?
Right.
It's very appreciated. I love it when I'm in on the process of what's happening with my money, or with my order of whatever that means. So many opportunities, and there's so many different ways. It could be a headset that a new associate wears, that they're talking to an AI agent to allow them to ask questions and get those answers in real time. That's obviously something that was a foggy dream 5 years ago, and here we are. It's happening.
Yeah.
So these things are all going to be bumpy for a while. There's going to be a lot of things that need to be worked out, but it's going to happen, and the only way to get there is to start trying. So we're building that kind of technology, and everybody's going to have some version of it, and I hope that it continues to make experiences better and better in a more and more complicated world.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it'll go. Things kind of, back to the wheel. Things have gotten better.
Yeah.
we have a lot more opportunities. How we feel about it and how we compare it to other things is a whole other story. But there's so many possibilities.
Yeah. That story you say about that employee that just left is so, like, that just like hits you because you're like, that's why, like, that's such a simple thing.
So simple. Yeah.
And to have that question be unanswered is pretty crazy. But finding ways to streamline that and make it better for the people that are working in business every day is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And when if you've worked in a real fast-paced environment where the phone's ringing and people are yelling for this and yelling for that, and the things stack up like you mentioned, it can be very overwhelming, especially when you're new.
Yeah.
And you haven't had time for your brain to organize all these things so that you can make kind of rational steps through complex situations. So, we can use technology to help simplify that process for people that are new, and that is it's one thing I'm kind of focused on in right now. But that that first week is so pivotal.
Oh yeah.
For a retail associate, it is it's a make or break, and there's so much attrition in that short time period. If you can keep somebody for just that first week, the statistics are that they're going to stay for much longer and be very valuable to the business, and especially not have to repeat the resources to continuously bring in new folks. So a lot of opportunity, lot of opportunity there to make kitchens, in my case, a better place. So, yeah.
That's incredible. So tell me a little bit to, you're obviously pretty focused on the pizza space.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like, in the next 5 or so years? Do you see yourself, pushing into other areas of food and restaurant, or do you see kind of pizza staying that main focus?
Yeah, I could see it going both ways. I really think that we'll stay focused on pizza because of the same reason we've started our focus in pizza. We have such an incredible knowledge base in pizza.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And from our founder Jim to Tom Grody, who's worked in the pizza industry for so long, as an operator, and that's really been a core distinction of Agape Automation, because we have that operational view. Jim Grody started Donato's when he was 19 years old, and he thinks like an operator. He thinks about the mom and pop shops, and he wants to, we're creating equipment for the industry at large, and he thinks about those mom and pop shops and how they support their communities. Mm-hmm. And part of his value system, part of Jim's value system is kind of a tide raises all the boats. He thinks if people are having good pizza experiences out there and thinking about pizza, well, that's good for Donato's too. That's just the way that's the way he thinks. So, and I'm with him. I believe it. And we have this incredible operational knowledge, hundreds of years of combined knowledge in the space, and that specialized knowledge is such a big deal when you're trying to create new things, like the smart saucer and the smart pep and the smart cheeser that we're working on. These individual pieces of equipment that do individual processes that help the store associate do their job a little better, a little faster. When we first started out around 2019, we saw the new kind of startups entering the automation space, specifically in pizza.
Yeah.
The concept was like, let's put it all in one box. Let's put you put in a pizza and out comes a finished pizza with the sauce and the cheese and the pepperoni and the toppings on it. That made sense to me back then. It's like, yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
And then you've got this, $100,000 machine that's as big as half of this room that doesn't fit into an existing pizza location. And it doesn't work because there is so much nuance, from sauce to cheese to cheese. There is so many little moving pieces that it's very hard to make it all work in the same box. And what looks very simple, or the idea is very simple, is very complex. So, my leadership was right on it. They saw that, and they were like, you can't bring in this ginormous machine that overwhelms the budget of a individual operation and expect this to work. If we can break it into smaller pieces, the smart saucer, the smart cheeser, the smart pep, you can do it. And so, and that's what we found, is the success was through simplifying. Still an incredible amount of development, because we still have all the fine tuning. But at least we have a better chance with a small modular tabletop piece of equipment,
right,
that can help the team make a pizza better and faster.
And
so
it has a specific function too.
Yeah,
like that's right. Then you can almost pinpoint, where are we seeing the most efficiency in the line, if it's the sauce or the pepperoni, or what might it be?
But, yeah, sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of an example of why that operational knowledge in the pizza space is so important.
Yeah.
And I really believe in it. I also wouldn't be surprised if the technology that we develop has application in other parts of the retail restaurant space. That would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get there someday. We'll see.
Yeah.
But we're always thinking about possibilities. We're innovators at heart, and we have luckily we have a great manufacturing partner that helps us commercialize, because it's easy to float away with innovation. The shiny object. Look, we could do that too. This kind of thing. So it's it takes a lot of discipline on top of, you have to be able to balance that innovation mindset with the discipline to finish. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I was at the Pizza Expo here in Columbus in October, and there is a ton of innovation and a ton going on in the industry. So it's that particular segment of the restaurant industry, I think, will continue to just move up, and we'll see more innovation and more interesting things happening, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
And it's cool to know that innovation is happening here in Columbus.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, before we close out today, anything else you want to tell us about?
Ooh. Well,
so many things probably.
Yeah. I think just as kind of a core message, as I think about my kind of path and my journey, it kind of goes back to just doing more and not saying no, always saying yes until you can't, and I know that's kind of in opposition to some of the self-care messages of don't overextend yourself and take it easy, but I really believe that the more energy that people can put out in the direction of their interest and in the directions that they love, that kind of energy comes back in very positive ways.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I encourage folks to do more, and yeah. that's all I got, I guess.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Brands and Banter. We loved just learning more about everything going on in the pizza industry and automation, more about your background. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah.